Welcome back to the Manor. Julian McBain here, and we are finally on our final Bukin spare rifle run, just to see how it shapes up. And now I know that the sample size is too small to get a really good read on things, and an ideal, you know what, I'll go into that in a moment. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Manor. Please take a moment and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. Also, consider going to patreon.com/JulianMcBain if you want to support my work. If you do, you get exclusive content like this month's exclusive video showcasing Dark Cloud, which is emulated on the PCSX software. There's some sound things in there that my patrons help me to make sure my sound stuff is all in the correct order. We're going to be doing some adjustments because starting yesterday, when this video releases, because this video releases on Wednesday, on Tuesday, the live stream, we're going to be starting a new game, well, an old game, Kingdom Hearts. I'm looking forward to it. I vacillated over whether that was going to be the game or the game that I did on my Patreon. We're doing Kingdom Hearts. I'm doing it. No one can stop me. I've been looking forward to playing it for a while. That's the entire reason I wanted the emulator to begin with. Well, that and Dark Cloud, which is the other game I was thinking about playing. So we're playing Kingdom Hearts. But you get that exclusive content. I talk about things that I won't talk about on this channel. I go in depth on economic factors that I'm a little more... I talk about it more. I talk about it more in depth. Make it more personal. And I do other stuff as well. I did some extra Fallout New Vegas videos on there to do some extra exploration. So please consider becoming a member. That being said, let's talk about the exercise that I did with the rifles and the benefits and drawbacks to how I did it. So on the benefit side, the good thing about doing the videos where I'm showing the different rifles and I'm doing several hunts in a row. Benefit is you get to see it. You get to know whether it was an anomaly or not. You get to know whether it would be, is this going to look like a typical hunt? Is there a benefit? Is there a drawback? Can the mob that was selected actually be hunted effectively with the guns selected? Which in this case, of course, they could because I've been hunting them extensively for months. So having that sampling with a fixed cost means you can actually gather data. And although the data aren't as big as we want them to be, for the sake of standard-sized videos, which you all know I like to make my videos about 30 minutes long, we need to be able to parse out how long a video should be. And for 30 minutes, 25 PED is about the extent to which you would want to do with these small beginner weapons. Of course, I'm using all of the amps from the Platinum Starter Pack. I'm going to get into the benefits and drawbacks of the Platinum Starter Pack since having gotten it and used parts of it and what parts I use and what parts I don't. But to keep everything on par, I use the amps, all of the attachments from the Starter Pack with both rifles. I could have just as easily not used them, but I find that they create so much more efficiency. I would get better data and better returns if I did use them. So when all other things being equal, grab the better returns. So I feel like because we set fixed parameters around what the hunt would be, we had a good mechanism with which to collect data. The data are not fast to collect though. And we truncated the test by only having 3 hunts per weapon. This is where the downside comes in. Now, if I was running a proper test, like a super proper test, the best way to collect the data is to do extended hunts dozens of times. And what I mean by that is, instead of doing 25 PED hunts, and this is something I've been criticized for incorrectly so, and I've explained a couple times why I selected 25 PED and why it's only 3 hunts, because we would be here all year doing nothing but 25 PED hunts, and I'd probably alternate between the weapons all fucking year to do it. Come to think of it, that could be some bonus content. I'll have to file that away for later. But the fact of the matter is, in order to collect the data, And in order to have these data mean anything, they have to be collected over a long period of time with multiple hunts that are of materially substantial size. So what these last 6 hunts really have been, and I understand this, and as much as I've enjoyed doing them, I was really thinking about it. Like, really thinking about it while I was doing some of the prep work for the production work on the previous video, getting it ready to go up, getting the thumbnail built out. The data that we have collected are not substantial enough to make a good judgment, and just one global throws all the data out of whack. One terrible run throws all the data out of whack, and we had both events happen in just the 6 hunts we had. So here's what I would recommend, and here's what you should do, in my opinion. If you are trying to collect data regarding how good a weapon is in this game, or in any game, or anywhere in real life, not just a weapon, but anything, design the tests so that it's consistent, which we did manage to do. That was one thing we did correctly. The tests were consistent across the board. All of the tests were 25 PED. All of the tests were against the same mob. In a perfect world, they would have been all against the same mob of exactly the same maturity. We didn't really have that option with which to test these weapons on Toulan unless I went after tabs. Tabs are so low level, efficiently hunting them, in my opinion, is not... It's not very possible. It's not as possible as with the Kafaz. And so now the benefit to hunting something like the tab is that you'd be able to do so and not wear armor, which helps remove a variable. The more variables you can remove, the better. It removes the variable of needing armor. It actually removes the variable of needing healing, because I've got enough health to just tank tabs, and I've got enough dodge and evade to evade most of their attacks. I've hunted tab for an hour and not needed to heal once. So for a sampling on that respect, they would have been a much better target for this particular study. The problem with it, which is basically what we've done, we have just executed a truncated scientific study on the efficiency of 2 particular weapons in Entropia universe. We have used scientific method to do it. So yes, you can use games for science. But the more variables you can remove from the equation, the better off you are. So like, this is a variable here that creates problems. We've got, first off, why the hell are you in the ground, dude? You're like literally in the ground. There you go. That's a good Kafaz. We're taking more damage than we should be. We have multiple mobs. This means that my armor is taking more decay than it otherwise would, fighting only 1. On top of that, there is the possibility of dying if I'm not paying attention, which you all know me. I start to flap my gums, and then I forget that I'm under attack and don't pay attention to my health like a dope. But... And while all of the damage you take technically gets thrown into the PED pool, it doesn't mean it's all going to come back to you in an efficient manner. This is one of the benefits that Virtueverse is going to have over Entropia Universe. There are a lot of good things and bad things about each platform, and there are benefits and drawbacks to each one. So I'm not saying that Virtueverse is superior, it's just different. But one of the things they are doing to make it easier is they have a consistent return policy, where there's going to be a lot less variability in the returns of loot. This would allow you to determine the efficiency of a weapon much more quickly with a smaller sample size, as opposed to Entropia Universe, where you need to have a traditionally large one. Now, that being said, Entropia Universe in that respect is actually far more realistic, because in order to make, in real life, variabilities are always going to exist. Life is not a game of strict mathematics where everything is always by percentage. There's always going to be variability. This is why Dungeons & Dragons uses a d20 to determine whether or not you're successful at something. All computer games use random number generators for shit. All of this stuff matters. So, and that's also going to depend on how they execute it in Virtueverse. You can also dodge mobs in Virtueverse. You can't dodge mobs here. Well, you can, but it's all mathematically generated in Entropia universe, whereas in Virtueverse, you can literally dodge the fuck out of the way. Dark Souls style. Which reminds me, I really need to find a controller so I can play that game. So yeah. So in a perfect world, and I might do this in the future as bonus content, like generate a bunch of these small controlled cost hunts, put them up as videos, but not have them be my main segment. Title them as such, you know, Scientific Study A, Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and put those up for you to view if that's what you want. We'll talk about shit as we do it, but to really analyze and drill down the true value. And I know that it was commented on my last video, and I'm going to look up who said it, because I want to give credit where credit is due. Right? That's always something that we should do, is give credit where credit is due. So bear with me for just a moment. I'm going to find that comment real quick. Actually, you know what? It's probably in the studio. So we're going to go... Here it is. Criterion 515 said all the stats of the weapons are posted in great detail on the wiki. That thing has been an item of amazement for me ever since I figured out how to use it. Good comment. I know the stats are there. I've never found the wiki to be super user-friendly. I have used it, and I have used it to great effect, but it took some time to figure out the navigation. Wikimedia is it's the thing I love to hate. I really do. Wikipedia is exquisitely designed to send you down a rabbit hole for hours. How do I know this? Whoops, been there. But a lot of the fan wikis, the search criteria, depending on how complex the particular things are more difficult to utilize. The search criteria can often be very precise, require high precision. The Entropia wiki, I'd say, is kind of in the middle area, and if you don't know exactly what to look for, oftentimes you won't get anything. And so that's my complaint about the Entropia wiki. That being said, I do think it's a great starting point. It's a great way to look up information on stuff that's been in the game a very long time, or on the platform, I should say. And so understanding that it doesn't get updated as often as it should, I think that there is a lot of good information on there. The other problem is that there's two wikis for Entropia Universe. The good wiki and the wiki that never gets updated. Both have their good points and their bad points. I would say that, again, use it as a starting point, and then understand you're going to be doing a lot of your own research. And I honestly think that's something that no one has really done. I think that's a boat that's been missed. EU, because it's a real cash economy game, because it's got, and I've pounded on this drum before, I think that it's a great place to study economics, because it is a completely unregulated market. And that's something that we have never had in human history before. And you can say, like, WoW's unregulated and shit like that, but it isn't unregulated. But that's unregulated, and it's desperately inflationary. Because if you run out of gold, you can just go kill mobs and get more. Here, you have to introduce money into the system. And that money has to come from somewhere, creating a forced scarcity. Not only that, but through repairs, money is removed from the system, preventing inflation from going over the top. It means prices are relatively stable and based on actual market conditions. There's all types of opportunities for scientific study here, even if it's only to teach the scientific method. For instance, doing an extended study on the efficiency of weapons over the course of, say, a college semester is a great implemented use of clinical trials of a particular item or weapon. Not only that, but you can also see from beginning to end how much your skill gain affects the outcomes with the weapon. Someone do a fucking essay on that. I'm serious. I want to see this shit in academic journals. I don't even read academic journals. I will buy the academic journal that publishes that, even if it's $200. But yeah, so that's really the downside of how I did this. Is I created a sample. The sample size was too small. The data we have are good, but insufficient. So here's what I wish I could do. And technically I could do it if I wanted to dedicate the time to it. If I wanted to put all the work into it. To do it properly, you really have to record it, just like we're doing here. And because of obligations, I don't have the opportunity to do that at this point. However, this is something that I would really be interested in doing, is doing, say, 100 PED runs. So like if I ever go pro, which we'll see if that ever happens. I think I could manage it. I think I'm still a long way off. But if I could ever go pro, that is something I will do. If y'all like me enough to support me enough to make it so I can go pro. And no, I'm not putting this on you. This means I need to up my skills. I will do a true study of the efficiency of the weapons in this game. Specifically the beginner weapons in particular. By doing on video and published where you can see them. 100 PED runs with each weapon. I will take the time, because at that point I'll have the time. And I'll put the videos up where you can watch them. They will be rather lengthy because with Bukins, it takes roughly half an hour to kill 25 PED. That means a single run's going to be two hours long. So you do 100 runs, that's 200 hours of game time per weapon. And yes, I am offering to dedicate that time if I ever manage to get there. Because I really want to drill down and do that. I want to do a true study on the efficiency of the weapons. And I'm willing to do that with any weapon set. And then I would publish the results. I publish all the data. I publish all the results. I do an analysis of it. I'd get, I'd really drill down into it and do a full workup on it. If you are interested in doing it, I encourage you to do so. If you have the time, if you have the resources, because 100 PED runs is nothing to sneeze at. Okay? If you think about it, each run is $10. Now, that doesn't mean you're spending $10 per run because you get a good chunk of that back in loot. Depending on the efficiency of the weapon, the decay, shit like that. You're going to probably be netting out, on average, barring any globals, you're probably going to be netting out between 80 and 90 PED for every 100 PED run. So if you put, say, 500 PED in worth of ammo, that might actually last you the entire study. If you cycle the PED and sell off the loot and buy weapon cells when you run out of universal ammo, that might actually work. But you'd have to really, be prepared to put the resources in. And I know that, money's money. That's a lot of money. Especially if you have limited resources. And I know what it's like because I've been there. I have had months playing this on this platform where I have limited myself severely because of economic reasons. Now, I'm fortunate that I'm not in a place where that's a concern at the moment. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. So don't deliberately overextend yourself if you plan on doing that. Be smart about it. Be responsible. But if you decide to do it, let me know. I'd love to see the results. I'd love to go through the data. Hell, if you publish the videos, I'll watch the videos. I can't guarantee I'll watch all 200 hours, but I'll certainly look through the videos and get the results and stuff like that. I think that would be really, really cool. And I think that's one thing that we don't have in Entropia for a profession is like a lab scientist or a true economist. Because, I mean, the whole world's a laboratory. Go out and experiment. We have all this opportunity for science. Between playing Portal and going through Old World Blues and friggin' Fallout New Vegas, I'm big on for science. Oy. Ugh, arm is sore. So, for all of you who don't know, I always record this, the Wednesday segment on Monday. And, got stabbed earlier. And my arm is sore. It was a medical stabbing, so it's okay. Doesn't mean it doesn't make my arm sore, though. Oh, God. How are we doing for ammo? 7 PED. And here we are at darkest of night. As we frequently are when I'm doing these recordings. You know, I actually figured it out. I figured out why I always seem to record at night. It's because the clock in the game is fixed. And so the same time every day, it will always be at the same time within the day or night cycle. And as it happens, because of the time difference between where I am and where Sweden is, the 6 to 8 o'clock hours is always nighttime for me. And I always record these videos between 6 and 8 p.m. On Monday when I do the Wednesday segment. And so, like, I was actually complaining about it when I was playing Virtueverse because they're on the same time schedule. Like, I'm pretty sure hour for hour, Virtueverse and Entropia Universe match up, although Entropia might be on a 2-hour day-night cycle, and Vivi's on a 4-hour day-night cycle. So, I would actually have to test that too. But because of that, inevitably, when I have the opportunity to do this segment, it's always going to be at night, at least on this planet. And I think that's pretty universal, actually, across the Entropia universe. Eventually, when we go visit other planets, that could change. I know I keep saying that I need to get off of Toulan and fly elsewhere for a change. I like Toulan. I really like Toulan. I like Toulan as much as I liked Cyrene after I spent a little time there. Okay? I can't even answer why. Maybe it's because it has just the right balance of population to mobs. I don't know. But I know that eventually this has to come to an end. Even though I still haven't gotten a page yet. It's okay. I was only hoping to grind out getting an apartment or a shop. I know that eventually I'm going to have to move on. We'll figure out when that is. The thing is that this consistency has felt really good. And that's one thing that I like as a content creator, is to be able to have, to give that consistency. I know that part of being a content creator is balancing fresh with consistent. Because you want a consistent experience, but at the same time, you can't let it get dull. That's one of the reasons I'm really glad I'm done with the Cafes challenge, because it means I can hunt other things. Because I'm sure you're bored with watching me hunt the Cafes over and over and over again. But at the same time, that consistency allows me to build skills and shit like that. But there's other places to explore. There's other things to do. So I know it's coming, and I keep talking about it. And we're finally at that point where, as much as I hate to say it, we're probably coming up to it. So we'll see what happens in the next video. You know, come Sunday, we could be on another planet. At least I'll be hunting a different mob. At the very least, I'll be hunting a different mob. Some things I do want to do this year, I want to do some more space hunting. The problem with space hunting is I don't have enough skills to do a true video just in space, because I can hunt 3 or 4 mobs and I got to run back to a space station, repair the ship, go back out, hunt 3 or 4 mobs, go back to the space station, repair the ship. That gets boring really fucking quick for you guys. And it's not all that thrilling for me, to be quite honest. But I know I need to grind that shit out. So that'll eventually come. I need to spend more time in the practice area, get my my captain profession elevated a little bit. So yeah, there is a solid chance that the next video will be on Entropia. I might finally bite the bullet and truly visit. Like, I've been there. I actually have the download data for all 6 planets. Well, 6 planets, 2 moons, yada 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 yada. Anyway, all 7 planet partners I have, or 7. No, there's not 7 planet partners. All 7 primary locations: Calypso, Cyrene, Arcadia, Next Island, Toulan, Rocktropia, and Monria. Which actually, Monria is a moon of Calypso. And then I want to know, like, this space station here. What the fuck is it doing way out there in the corner? Is it just set up for a pending planet partner? Is there more to it? We'll take one more. We'll take one more and we'll call it good. Like, I've never been that far out. It's a long-ass distance to fly without knowing what the hell, you know, to expect out there. The other thing that I should probably eventually do is Mission Galactica. I mentioned this in my last video. I guess I can't freaking... Oh. We're having lag. Yay. There we go. You know, it's a thing. Get a really cool-ass healing ship out of it. So we'll see what happens. Let's just take a look at it. Vibrant Sweat. This is a transmission from the Dread Castamere, your beloved pirate of the cosmos, being wealthy enough already for anything. I'm searching for materials, and in return I shall share my treasures. During my extensive travels, I have come across designs for some very exotic Mind Force devices with amazing properties which will please the Dreadlord. Hee hee. I'm willing to use it to make you one. Obviously, the journey will take you take to gain this item will be long and difficult, but I don't care what you have to do. Just get me the materials. Prove yourself. Let's see what you are made of and what you want to become. Do be prepared. However, the later stages will require you to have reached a certain level of endurance. For that, you will be scanned to ensure your health is sufficient. How hungry are you for power? So, that's interesting. And I don't know if... Can I have my ship, please? What was I saying? I don't know if that means you have to fly through space with loot. Which means dodging pirates. These are all, you know, different things that you have to balance. And so that's going to be a very interesting mission set. I think we did okay. 8, 12. I think this one's a lot softer, actually. I think this one's a lot softer. This is going to really crump the total profits from doing the previous Bukin hunts. Okay. So, pull out the handy dandy calculator here. What does our revenue look like? 15.58. And then we have 1.9 PED in ammo left for a total revenue of 17.48. So we're already down. And now, if we take out the 3.19 in repairs, that leaves us with a total balance of 14.29 minus 25 PED initial startup, and that leaves us with a loss of 10.71 PED. So, not a good run. Considering the other two were profitable, I don't have a lot of room to bitch, but the profitability does not trump all the losses because they aren't that profitable. So, I guess that's to be expected, though. So there. Study's over, and we'll see what happens next. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. And as always, I really appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next one.